Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tolly man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally. Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Yet another exciting episode of the Mighty Global News Updates. In this entire show of the Mighty Drive that runs Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Alternative Dig Talk TV. We love you so much and we really wish you the very best. We believe that each day you learn something new, something that contributes towards the development of our country, Uganda, and even the entire continent, the entire African continent, because we prioritize matters of national importance. My name is Keneth Rubatsimbira Rwemirembe, and I'm here to just take you through some of the stories that are shaping conversations this morning, and even have a very lengthy discussion with one of our guests here who will be joining us in a very short time from now. You don't have to miss anything today. We are going to talk much about the youth. So if you are a youth out there, or even love youth and want or wish them well, please tune into this show and share to a friend. Now let's first delve deeper into the stories that are shaping conversations this morning. I believe out there you're having a good day. And that is our wish always, that if it is not going as you expect, we always pray that things move on smoothly. But we understand you need a reliable source of information. You need to stay inspired, educated, and above all, stay informed. That's why the Alternative Dig Talk TV has never stopped doing that. We are always here to keep you inspired, educated, as well as keep you informed. We believe you're learning every day, and we all learn with you. So please tap that subscribe button and join us. Be part of this mighty platform that is trusted by tens of thousands of people and millions of people that get access to what we have to offer. Now this morning, let's start right away with the story of the NUP supporters who were arrested in Mbarara previously on Friday. They were brought to court, and some were brought to court in Mbarara and others were brought here in Kampala. And among those that were brought in Kampala, we saw Olivia Lutaya, and now we learned that the charges against Olivia Lutaya are a little bit different from some of other supporters that were arrested in Mbarara. For Olivia Lutaya, now the case is for conducting military drills at the party headquarters. That story was played here. We talked about it. Some NUP supporters who the security organs say they were involved in military drills. They conducted drills that are more like for the military, and now some of them were still in custody. Now Olivia Lutaya joins that group as well on the same charges. Now even others, those who were arrested in Mbarara, the relatives have now come out to say that they have not yet seen their fellows. Some of the charges, like you're seeing on that screen, like obstructing police from doing their job, idle disorder, among other charges on these people. Now, some of those who were brought in Mbarara, others were not brought, according to the relatives who came out yesterday to say they don't know the whereabouts of their people, at least that they have not yet seen them, and the time has passed beyond the 48 hours as required by law, that for anyone should not be detained for more than 48 hours before they are brought to court. Now the relatives are saying they do not know the whereabouts of their people, and some are even suggesting that the security organs should always avail the lists as soon as possible, showing those people they have in their detention, so that their relatives and family members can know whether their people are missing because of any other reason or they are detained. Now they still say they are stranded. They do not know what next. They do not know where the people might be. That is it. The story coming in from Mbarara. The relatives and family members of those who were arrested are now saying they don't know where their people are, and they are calling upon the government to tell them where these people would be. The NUP says this is a deliberate move to hinder the struggle for power, the struggle for the National Unity Platform. They're saying the security forces are doing this to just make their people give up. But as NUP, they say they are not ready to cease fire or to continue fighting for what they call bringing a new government, the government that is brought in by the power of the people. Now, that is if the Ugandans, of course, choose NUP to become the ruling party, like now the NRM is in power. That is the story coming in from there. And now moving on, the UPDF deputy spokesperson yesterday, Colonel Henry Obo, came out and said the UPDF is now ready to help the police in ensuring stability in these elections, to make sure they provide security, saying that the police is not enough. The police officers are not enough in number to do this work alone. That's why the UPDF will come in now to support these police officers in conducting peaceful elections. They say they are there to provide security. But criticism coming from different individuals. Some say that these security officers most of the times mistreat the people, they brutalize the journalists like we saw in Kawempe, and that the conduct of the army is not right, that only police should be allowed to be in these elections. Now this comes at a very critical point where we are heading to the 2026 general elections, but the army says they are there to protect the Ugandans. They are not there to harm any individual. It is the Uganda People's Defense Forces, meaning it is a force for Ugandans and for their defense. So they are there to make sure these people are secure, and they are not there to harm any other individual, that the police can't have enough officers to make sure at least they do they carry out enough security for the people over there. Now, surprisingly, the NUP has been saying that there should be what they termed as the protest vote, that these people, their supporters, after voting, should stay behind to make sure at least they know what the results will be. They should demand for their vote in their protest vote agenda. Now, the UPDF says that will not be tolerated. After voting, go back home. Now, question remains on how this is going to be done. Whether now the people, the NUP supporters, will agree to this. After election, will they go home and wait for the results to be declared, or they will insist and follow the advice from the top officials in the party and now stay behind to make sure they protect their vote as their agenda, their protest vote agenda goes, where they have to vote to protect the vote and to demand for their vote. Now, we are waiting, of course, and as the alternative, we will always be here to give you all the information that is not biased, that is non-partisan. We give you the information as it is. Now, this was done in preparation for the Tarehe Sita celebrations that are yet to be conducted. Now, moving on, the presidential race is always heating up each day. Now, Nathan Mafabi was in Yumbe and Koboko, trying to gather support and make sure the people of those particular areas vote him into office and vote the Forum for Democratic Change. Nathan Mafabi says he's the new hope for Ugandans and that President Museveni will not do any other good thing. That if President Museveni has not done anything in the 40 years now, he's now close to 40 years in power, that there is nothing new. The people of Yumba and Koboko and all Ugandans should expect out of the NRM government, that the NRM government for now can't contribute anything towards the development of this country, Uganda, and that they should vote Nathan Nandala Mafabi, the presidential flag bearer for the Forum for Democratic Change. That is it, and he was welcomed warmly. Many people came out, of course, to welcome him. Although this time round the campaigns were conducted by the roadside, not in maybe a playground or any other huge gathering ground. That was it. Now, Honorable Mubarak Mnyagwa of the Common Man's Party was also in Kalungu. Now he asked the people of that particular area to vote the Common Man's Party. He's promised that the national cake will be shared equally in their agenda, where their symbol, which is a platter, they say food for all regions. The national cake should be shared equally among all the individuals in the country. Baraka Munyagwa insists that they will make sure, as the Common Man's Party, they make that happen. Every Ugandan should enjoy the good things that are in their country, not for one particular region or one single individual, but for all the regions to share equally on that platter. He symbolizes that on a platter with food on a platter and for everyone to eat. The rules of the platter are that they all start eating at the same time. No one eats before others, so they all start eating at the same time. The thing he says, even it should be done in the central government. Everything should be done fairly. Every individual should be able to benefit from the national cake. Now, also in the same manner, President Museveni was also in Butebo and Palisa, asking the people of those areas to vote the NRM government and vote him back into power. He told them that the NRM government has brought peace, something they should fight hard to protect, that they should protect these gains, and that the NRM government has brought peace, so they should work hard to make sure they stay with that peace. He talked about the war situation that was in their region, and he said that no any other party will bring peace if not the NRM. Also, Honorable Kyagulanyi was in Rwanda and Rukunjiri, trying to ask Ugandans to vote him into office. The race is very tight. Everyone is fighting very hard to make sure they are Uganda's next president. every 7 of the 8, without now President Museveni, sorry, want to remove President Museveni from power through a democratic process, of course, if Ugandans vote any of these other 7, or if Ugandans still vote President Museveni back into power. Now for Kyagulanyi, the movement was tough there due to poor roads. We saw him walk some distances after realizing that he could not reach there by car. Now, he talked about those poor roads, of course, saying that this is because of the ruling government. He promised that if the NUP gets into power, they will not forget retired Colonel Dr. Besigye, who is up to now in jail. That is it, and Kyagulanyi promises to change all that, change the narrative of Uganda, where that most people are now crying. He is the solution for that. He was welcomed warmly with even some church leaders there. We saw priests welcoming him and praying for him, with even other people that were running after him. That is it for Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the presidential candidate now and flag bearer for the National Unity Platform. So in our last story, we learned that Professor Waswa Balunywa, the former MOBS principal, now is out and has been set free. He has now also joined the list of those that were now set free, including Minister Amos Lugolobi. Now they are free after the DPP lost interest in this case and decided to set them free, and they were now happy that they are out of custody. Professor Waswa Balunywa was now battling charges against him, charges of office misuse and corruption, that he had recruited some staff members illegally who never met the necessary criteria there at MOBS. Now, Makerere University Business School, and now the Director of Public Prosecutions, the outgoing one, Jen Francis Sabodo, set them free after saying that the government had lost interest in this case. And now the charges have been withdrawn. Also for Honorable Amos Lugolobi of Ntenjeru North was also released and set free. We saw him celebrating and thanking God for being out of custody. Now for Amos Lugolobi, it was a different case. He was being charged of corruption, and because of the Mabati scandal, or the iron sheet scandal, when the iron sheets that were allocated for the people of Karamoja, we learned that now some individuals in the government had decided to take them to their homes to put them for their own benefit. Now he was, of course, detained. Very many people were in this Mabati scandal, including the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Anita, among the Prime Minister, Ruben and Nabanja, but some of them responded early and took these iron sheets back. But now that's the situation. These people have been now set free. Now, this marks the end of the Mighty Global News updates. However, we always tell you what happened on a day like this in history. And after that moment, I will be coming here with our guest. Don't miss any part of it. Have a good morning for now, but we are coming in shortly. The African continent, a burning desire for independence had been simmering for decades, fueled by the injustices of colonial rule and the longing for self-determination. From the pyramids of Egypt to the savannas of South Africa, the cry for freedom echoed, a powerful chorus that refused to be silenced. The sun had set on the African continent, casting a warm orange glow over the vast landscapes and bustling cities. Yet, the flame of resistance burned bright, a beacon of hope for a brighter future. For generations, African nations had endured the yoke of colonialism, their people subjected to the whims of foreign powers. In Egypt, the British occupation had been a constant thorn in the side of the Egyptian people, with the government struggling to assert its authority. On November 13, 1935, the tension boiled over as students and protesters took to the streets of Cairo, calling for an end to British rule. The government's decision to postpone parliamentary elections, widely seen as a move to maintain British control, was the spark that ignited the flames of protest. Demonstrations began peacefully, with the students from Cairo University marching through the streets, waving Egyptian flags and chanting slogans. But as the day wore on, the protesters turned violent, with clashes between demonstrators and British troops. The sound of gunfire and tear gas filled the air as the protesters fought for their rights. The British troops, armed and ready, responded with force, determined to quell the uprising. But the Egyptians were not easily intimidated, their desire for independence driving them forward. The streets of Cairo became a battleground as the two sides clashed in a frenzy of violence. The violence spread across the country, with widespread strikes and civil unrest. The city of Alexandria, a hub of commerce and culture, was brought to a standstill as protesters marched through the streets. The international community took notice, with condemnation pouring in from across the globe. The British government, facing mounting pressure, was forced to take action, sending a delegation to Egypt to negotiate with the Egyptian government. The negotiations were tense, with both sides dug in their heels, but the Egyptians were determined, the desire for independence driving them forward. Finally, on August 26, 1936, the Anglo-Egyptian Treaty was signed, granting Egypt limited independence. The treaty marked a significant milestone in Egyptian struggle for independence, but it was only the beginning. The country would continue to fight for full independence. The events of November 13, 1935 served as a catalyst for the independence movement, inspiring other African nations to take up the cause. The desire for independence was a flame that could not be extinguished, and it would go on to shape the course of African history. Today, the legacy of the anti-British riots lives on, a testament to the power of the human spirit and the desire for freedom. The Egyptian people, and indeed the entire African continent, continue to celebrate their independence as a reminder of the struggles of the past and triumphs of the present. As the sun sets over the African continent, the desire for independence remains, a beacon of hope for a bright future. The events of November 13, 1935 will never be forgotten, a reminder of the power of the people and the importance of fighting for what is rightfully yours. Keneth Rubatsimbira, Dig Talk TV.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be normal.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting, thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that commercial break. We are now back from the updates. We believe you have learned something and you now know what's happening in the country. Like I promised, now my guest is already here in studio. I promised you earlier that we'll be now talking about matters regarding the youth. We are seeing youth and power. How better can youth influence policies towards a political transition now? The youth make the largest percentage of the population of our country, Uganda. And Uganda, we are known as one of the youngest populations in the world. Being second to Niger, that must mean something to the youth. But the problem is we are not seeing that reflected, maybe in policies that are passed by the government in power, or here and there. One may say that the youth are not reflected. Their views may not be much reflected. That higher percentage could not be maybe reflected in power here and there. The youth, probably one would say they have been left out. What is causing this? How can they, what mechanisms can they now adopt to make sure they are part of their own government, the government where their population is the majority? That's what we'll be talking about this morning. And if you are just tuning in right now, you're watching the Alternative Dig Talk TV, and we are streaming across all our social media platforms. That is at the Alternative Uganda on YouTube, the same handle on Facebook, and on TikTok we use Dig Talk TV. Make sure you subscribe to this mighty platform if matters of national importance mean something to you. We always bring in here special people that we believe could contribute something towards the development of this country through sharing information and knowledge, because we all learn from each other. I, for one, learn from these people. We learn from you, our viewer, who share your comments with us and asking questions, or even give your own submissions. We always welcome your feedback, and we learn and teach each other, because we need a better country. We need a country that is informed, that is educated, that is inspired. That's what we do here, without being partisan, of course, as a platform, but giving freedom of expression to all individuals equally, regardless of their political ideas and their political parties. Now here in the studios I've been joined by the Western Youth MP candidate from the Forum for Democratic Change, and he is Mr. Abeneitwe Manful. He will be now saying hi to you, and we will delve deeper into the discussion this morning. I am Keneth Rubatsimbira to make sure I bring to you this show. Be part of it by liking and sharing to a friend. Mr. Abeneitwe, thanks for joining us on the Mighty Drive. Say hello to our viewer.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. I'm so glad to be here at the Dig Talk TV for my very first time. My name is Manful Abeneitwe, a political activist, a human rights defender. I'm a leader of the youth, or I'm a member of the National Executive Committee of the Youth League at the Forum for Democratic Change, the party I have belonged to ever since I joined politics. I am a candidate for Western Youth Member of Parliament, where I look forward to represent the youth in the 12th Parliament of Uganda. It's incumbent on to us, like, you know, the topic of discussion today, to understand that as the youth, nothing for us without us. To the viewers, I thank you for following up, and I wish us all, because the viewers are always part of the discussion, I wish us all a fruitful deliberation on the matters that concern the youth and concern our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is it from Mr. Abeneitwe. Manful. He has told you, he has told you at least, you and I, the background, his background at least. But one would wish to know the journey that now brings Manful Abeneitwe to this very day. That journey, have you been a politician from a younger age, like maybe from primary school, or is it something that you learned along the way and fell in love with, maybe bringing change in this country? What has that journey been like for you? Have you been pro-politics from the very beginning, or you were inspired by some other individuals out there along the way?
You know, I think next year I will be making 10 years in active politics. I started following up politics, being inspired by great leaders in 2016. And not only that, from my primary school up to the university, I have been involving myself in the leadership of students. You know, being a prefect at secondary and primary schools. And at university, I was the chairman of the FDC Makerere University chapter, you know, which I served with all my knowledge and efforts. And it was I served in quite a number of positions right at Makerere University. I was the president of the Makerere University External Commerce Association. That is the association that was bringing together the students who were studying Bachelor of Commerce External, and quite a number of positions that I served when I was at the university. So it's not new to me to speak about politics. It's not new to me to offer myself to serve the youth, especially because I'm still a youth, you know. Contesting for a youth MP, you have to be a youth, not going beyond 30 years.
With that background, what has been your inspiration? Like from a younger age, maybe, because one may say that maybe from a younger age you just loved being a leader. What has been that motivation for you, like from that very young age up to now, where you are now eyeing the MP seat for youth in Western Uganda?
Of course, at a young age, joining politics was not a mere calling, but I was inspired and I was looking up to great leaders. When I was to join the FDC, I was inspired by the leaders of Dr. Kizza Besigye, who is a champion of change, and which I saw it important that the country needed change, you know, in its status quo. The likes of Honorable Jack Sabit, who was a former member of Parliament, Ruchiga, the likes of the Right Honorable Nathan Nandara Mafabi, who is now contesting for president. you know, and quite many people that, you know, I was looking up to and inspired me to join the politics, to join the leadership, and you know, because I've gone through all the stages, I've not just come from there and said, no, I should contest for a member of parliament. At least I've gone through the stages up to where I am right now.
For one to be inspired, maybe for some politician or a certain individual to inspire you, there are always values that they prioritize which are in line with what maybe you believe in or you love. What were those values like you looked at and made you even get inspired by these leaders? What were those values you were looking up to and said, I love this and I wish I could be him because of this and that?
You know, I like people or leaders who are pro-people, you know, who speak about what helps the citizens or the, you know, the people they lead. My inspiration comes from when when I said I should belong to the FDC, I first, you know, understood its mission. You know, when you read about the mission of the FDC, you find that its objective or the mission was to create a Uganda that is for us all. You know. So that is majorly what got me inspired by the leaders I've mentioned. And then the mission of the FDC, because when we speak about change, change is, you know, doesn't just come because you need it. You have seen people who say, or who advocate for change, when in actual sense they, you know, they have their own selfish interests. You know, they are not pro-people leaders. So that's it.
Well, you I've been asking you about that background for the youth out there to understand that people like you don't just come out of the blue and you now show interest now. Maybe to motivate someone out there to understand that whatever they may be going through is the same maybe channel that even others took to be here. Now, how could you be your definition for the role of the youth in influencing policies towards a political transition in Uganda?
In your opening remarks, you stated it clear that the youth are the majority. When we look at the recent concluded census, it still brings it out clear that the youth are the majority in this country and in many other countries. So it's incumbent on to us to influence the policies towards the political transition. A successful political transition, Chiambafe, as the youth, or it helps us. You know, we use Chiambafe because it is a trending word in you know, on social media. And so we have, you know, to get involved. Actively and passively get involved in, you know, influencing the policies that will lead us towards a successful transition. You know, we have been in Uganda where the current president has been here for almost 40 years. And when you look at other countries that have had presidents of that caliber, you know, being in power for quite some good decades, we know how they have ended up. And I think the youth never played a great role in influencing the policies in those various countries you know, to come out with a successful transition. You know, we have had maybe of recent in Cameroon.
President Paul Biya.
Not actually, you know, because he's the leading, he's the president on the African continent who has been in power for quite some, you know, some good decades. 40 years, you know, up to now. So I feel that the youth in those various countries should, get back to the drawing board and see how transition can come to them or can happen in the countries successfully. The countries where you have had issues over transition of power, when you look at Sudan, when you look at Libya, after Kano Mama Gaddafi was killed, while still in power. From that time up to now, Libya has never been the same. The same applies to Sudan and quite some other countries. So I feel it's incumbent on to us. And how do we achieve this? Like I said, that nothing for us without us. It means we have to actively get involved in the political arena. We should show up for leadership. A good enough constitution actually gives us, the youth, some few priorities of leadership. That's why I'm contesting for Western Youth MP. That is the constitution that gives us that chance. And we have quite a number of youth-led organizations or departments. When you look at the National Youth Council, when you look at UNSA, the Uganda, National Students Association.
Sure.
So I believe that when we show up in leadership, not only actually in those youth-led or youth-led organizations, it is still incumbent on to us to show up for other various leadership positions, because the Constitution gives us that mandate. If you have the capacity, you contest for a member of parliament. We have had a nation that has been led by a group of people who should be retiring now. They always tell us that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and tomorrow has never come. For me, I feel we are the leaders of today. Tomorrow is today, and the future is today. So that is one of the mechanism of how we can influence the policies. Secondly, we are the youth. The Constitution gives us mandate to have peaceful demonstrations over change of the status quo. As a country, we have had challenges. We have had things that are not going right. And the youth, we have the capacity, we have the, the energy. We are so creative to start up movements that are peaceful. This can be done on social media platforms. Look at the Gen Z of Kenya, who protested online against the finance bill, and maybe who protested about a few issues that were not going well in their country. So we have that capacity, and the Constitution gives us that mandate. That in case we get challenged or we see that things are not moving right in the country, then we can show up and peacefully demonstrate.
The president has been saying that the reason as to why Uganda's population is largely youth is because of him coming to power in the NRM government, that they improved the health care, now the population has reached that far. And should we say that you, the youth, are not being patient? Maybe the old man with the heart is preparing something for you. He's laying a very firm foundation for you. Maybe you are not being patient.
I think it's not about the patience, because having many youth who are unemployed is not something to be thankful of. Yes, if he says because of the good health care system, that's why you have many youth in the country. That's not enough. because we all understand that the level of unemployment of the youth is so high, you know, and the country's current leadership has failed, you know, to provide solutions to that. So it's not about him, you know, as a person, and under his party NRM. I will not say that they have failed. You know, they have done some things, and we are proud as the youth, as Ugandans, but they have failed on other things which help the youth. When I speak about unemployment, you know, they have failed on that. You know, majority of the youth, I think we can bear mere witness. We have had a quite number of youth moving out of the country to go and look for what they call greener pastures, or, you know, white-collar jobs, or even the government has failed on that, because the foreign relations, you know, are still lacking. We have had quite a number of incidences where our youth are being mistreated in those countries. And that is part of my manifesto. When I speak about transition, then these are issues that I will work on if given mandate to represent the youth in the 12th Parliament. We need to reorganize the foreign relationship such that our youth, if there is unemployment here, which I can say cannot be worked upon in a blink of an eye, and we, you know, all of us youth, we get fully employed, we shall still need to move out where there are opportunities in the outside countries. So we need to reorganize the foreign relation to help our youth who move out of the country to seek for employment opportunities.
Talking about unemployment, indeed it is a very great challenge to our youth, but the government in power has at least had some attempts to make sure at least the youth get some jobs. We have seen the Myoga Fund, we have seen in this the Youth Livelihood Program, and the government has been putting some attempts to make sure the youth are involved. The president has been talking about improving the industry sector in the country to make sure that there is job creation for the youth. Are those attempts outstanding for now for a country like Uganda that is still developing? Do we necessarily need now the youth taking over, like the top leadership, to make sure this is implemented?
Yes, you know, we need the youth to take over the leadership of this country, because we are the majority and we know the challenges that we face. Maybe we are failed to have leaders, you know, to put out our voices loud and clear. Unemployment, you know, is a challenge not only in Uganda, however, for Uganda it is, I call it, it is in a worst stage. At the worst stage. But we can curb down the unemployment. One, if we change in the education curriculum, I think they have recently started adopting a new curriculum, you know, which calls for, apart from what you learn, or, you know, what you write in your books, history and what, at least now it involves, you know, skills, you know, skilling.
Practical skills.
Skills. And that is what the country deserves, what the youth deserve. You know, we should not be job seekers, year in, year out. We need to be prepared such that we can even be job creators. And how do you empower us? It is skilled, through skilling. Like how they have started the skilling hubs at the regional level, which I think is not you know, a bad attempt, but we still need more efforts Because to me, I feel we should advocate for skilling hubs at the district level, such that our young people can be skilled and prepared to be job creators, not job seekers. So yes, attempts have been made, but we still need to do more than what is being done. Overstay in power, because not only the president has overstayed in power, but quite a number of senior leaders have been in power for quite good years. You can't be in power for, you are a member of parliament 30 years, 35 years. No, what are you looking for when you understand that you have the children who you have prepared and can take over from where you would have stopped?
Maybe these children don't want to come out because they have a right to come out and contest. If some of them are contesting and they are being defeated by these very people in power, being voted by the fellow youth now, by the youth who would support their fellow youth, now voting older people. Should we say that these leaders are the ones to blame on this? Because the president has been saying to those who have been calling him a dictator, that a dictator who has been elected for over 5 times is a good dictator. And now we see he is now going beyond that. If the people are still voting these leaders back into office, aren't they the ones to blame?
No, you see, the senior leaders, one, have often stepped on us, are failed to give us a way through to get so much involved in the leadership of this country. But good enough, we have had quite a number of youth who have showed interest in the leadership of this country. We have many youth that are contesting in this general election. However, we face challenges as the youth. One of the challenges is that the politics of Uganda has been over-monetized. To contest as a member of parliament, you understand that you need more than 500 millions. I think that is in urban areas, but in rural areas you need almost $1 billion. That is how far we have gone with the current politics in our country. 2, the senior leaders feel or want to term us as inferior, that we cannot, we cannot manage the leadership, which is unfortunate. And which I think should be looked into, and we get superior in that. We have had the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi, which I think is more of an NRM institute, but it's, it's good. Capacity building, And I understand the youth who have gone through that leadership, however much I say it is an NRM institute, when we are talking to them, you see that at least
they understand.
Yeah, they understand, and they love their country regardless of being in the ruling party. So we all need that. We all need that, and that makes us superior and great leaders, regardless of our age, us being the youth. As long as we are prepared to be good leaders, then we shall be good to go.
So the preparation has not been done effectively by the ruling government to make sure that you're prepared, you're now mentored into becoming those great leaders like the ones that have been in power.
Yes, true.
And which other attempts can the government now make to make sure you people are inspired? Because at least for the NRM government, they say they have established such now like that Chankwanzi for empowering the youth, giving them the required knowledge on governance, politics, and how they can contribute towards the development of their country. Hasn't that been enough for the youth? At least, isn't it a very huge step for the youth to now be involved and learn from there? Or it is the problem of the youth who don't want to be involved and learn?
In our constitution, we have the Equal Opportunities Act, which speaks about, regardless of age, religion, we should enjoy this, our country. But the Equal Opportunities Act has not been taken seriously. That's how I say there is inequality. You know, there is no room for equal opportunities. Like I've said that Chankwanzi is more of an NRM institute. Personally, I've never had or seen Chankwanzi calling for applications for people to join. What I see is that, you know, students or young leaders have been taken to Chankwanzi, where they pick up the young cadres of NRM and they take them to Chankwanzi. So meaning if you are not in NRM, you lose out on being part of, you know, that mentorship, that leadership training. However, we thank, because personally I've gone through trainings by the help of non-government organizations. We have quite a number here in the country that are helping us as the youth, you know, trying to give us, you know, equal opportunities, whether you're NRM, whether you're FDC, whether you know, in any political party, in opposition, you are given equal treatment, equal chances, equal opportunities. So we need to have the Equal Opportunities Act taken seriously, especially on behalf of the youth, such that we are given equal treatment and chances, regardless of our political affiliations. You know, when I speak about this, I get sad when I understand that majority of the youth, majority of the young people in our generation are in Ruzira over political issues because they support a certain candidate. You know, you pick them up, take them to Ruzira. We still have young people in Ruzira who have been there for almost 5 years now. Some were arrested in the last election in 2020 towards the election in 2021. We have many who have been arrested in this election even. Because I was following up on Honorable Chaguranyi incident in Mbarara, where majority of the youth were caught up because they are on his campaign trail. We are caught up, some, you know, brought, driven up to here in Kampala, including Olivia. We all know that young lady has been to prison. You know, after getting out of the prison, now she has been taken back because she was driven from Barara actually and brought to Chief Magistrate's Court, I think in Kawempe, Kanyanya. So we need, because like the NRM candidate, you know, his campaign is being run by the youth, and no one, you know, is bothered about it, especially the security organs, but they get bothered on the youth who are on campaigns of other presidential candidates. So that is quite unfortunate and leaves, you know, it takes out the Equal Opportunities Act, or it violates the act actually, because you know, you favor a certain group of people and you want to harass, you want to intimidate, you want to arrest a certain group of people.
Well, I want to ask a question about that, and why the youth in opposition are seen as a threat, maybe by the ruling government. But we will answer that after this short break. We are still with Mr. Abeneitwe. Manful, and we are discussing power, youth and power. How can the youth influence policies towards a political transition? That's what we are discussing this morning. And if you just joined us, make sure you tap that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell such that you don't miss out on any conversation. Here we prioritize matters of national importance. And if that is something you love, or you know a friend, a brother, a sister who loves such, make sure you share the link, tap the share button and share to a friend so that they can enjoy this conversation. We are going in for a very short break. We'll be right back. Do not go away.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, Rogers. Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short break. We are still sailing smoothly into this conversation. We are talking about youth and power. How better can the youth influence policies towards a political transition in Uganda here? How best can it be done? We are talking about matters regarding the youth. If you're a youth out there, this conversation is for us, you and I believe we are all connected to the youth somehow. Whether if you are not a youth, maybe your children are young and they are youth. So this conversation is for all of us, and it is not limited by borders. Even some people watching us from outside Uganda, we believe it is important as well. The youth must be involved in any developmental idea, policy that contributes to the development of their country. Even in other initiatives by these international organizations, we have had a sustainable development goals, trying to work upon climate change, promote human rights here and there. And the youth are always the first priority, or the first individual groups that are thought of when it comes to ensure that there is a development, or these sustainable development goals are achieved. That proves how important the youth can be in any society. In everything, if we lack the youth, maybe we can't move smoothly. They make the largest percentage of the most of the countries here in Africa. They pay taxes. They are the strong people who can at least provide labor and enable smooth running of even other institutions. So it is very important to have a discussion that is centered about our brothers and sisters out there, the youth, or our children. If you are a parent and you have a son who is a youth or a daughter, this conversation matters to all of us. If you are just tuning in, this is the Alternative Dig Talk TV, Uganda's leading online platform that prioritizes matters of national importance. We are trusted by millions and millions of people. So feel free to tap that subscribe button, join us and be part of this mighty platform. We will not let you down. We'll keep you inspired, educated, as well as keep you informed. Now in the studios, I have been honored. We are still having Mr. Abeneitwe, Manful. He's the Western Youth MP candidate from the Forum for Democratic Change. That is, if he is given that mandate. And we are discussing matters regarding the youth, like I told you. Before we went in for the break, Mr. Abeneitwe, we talked about the youth, and somehow some individuals have been saying that these youth are viewed as a threat to the ruling government, especially the youth in opposition. What do you have to comment on that?
It's right that youth are seen as a threat, especially when they decide to belong to opposition political parties. The role of the opposition political parties, one is to do the checks and balances in the ruling government or in the ruling party, and then to be on standby as the alternative government. So regimes, especially those that are dictatorial, including the NRM, operates in such kind of manner, seeing youth in opposition political parties as threats, because they understand that they have led us for quite a good time, and they understand that there are issues, especially concerning the youth, that they have failed to achieve. So that's how they see the youth in opposition political parties as a threat, because they understand that the youth have the energy, the youth can wake up one day and do anything. When I speak about the dictatorial regimes, when you look at the recent concluded election in Tanzania, where His Excellency Samia was announced a winner, saying that, I saw her writing that she had the landslide victory. After looking down the leading opposition political party, which is Chadema, after arresting their chairman, the Honorable Tunde Lissu, over treason charges, like what we are seeing here. We are into an election, and Dr. Kizza Besigye is in prison over the same charges. You know, you are looking down because that is what we call dictatorship. Chadema was banned not to contest in the election. Not only their president or their leader was arrested and couldn't be allowed to contest for presidency, but even the young people were locked down not to contest because their political party was banned from involving itself in the election. Now, Chadema being a leading opposition political party in Tanzania, is Her Excellency, actually, Samia, saw it as a threat because Chadema has majority of youth. Actually, as a youth leader in FDC, you know, I get in touch with other, you know, opposition political party youth leagues. So I have all that information, and I understand that Chadema being a leading opposition party, the majority of the people in that political party are youth. Same applies to us here. Because, like I said, when you look at the arrests that happen, actually they don't arrest old people. Majority of the political prisoners are young boys and girls. That's how threatened the dictatorial regime becomes when it comes to the youth who are in opposition political parties. Because as opposition political parties, I said, they are always standby generators, you know, as alternative governments. So that's how us being seen as threats in opposition becomes. However, on that same issue, because in 2023, I contested for chairperson of the FDC National Youth League, which election I did not win. But one of my agendas was to bring on board all the youth leagues of the political parties, not only opposition actually, but even the ruling government. Because as youth, we face the same things, and it is incumbent on to us, like we are saying about political transition, it is incumbent on to us to prepare for that. So that, you know, inter-party youth league dialogues, that is what I had wanted to prioritize if I had given an opportunity to be the chairperson of the FDC National Youth League. Because we need that. We come on the same table, we look at how we can move as a generation for the good of our country.
About the youth now involvement, maybe even in leadership, we can't miss a point of maybe election, because this is a process that brings them into power somewhere. Is there a need for electoral reforms here in the country? Because you're talking about the Tanzania opposition leader Tundu Lissu and his party. The problem was that, according to state officials in Tanzania, they say they refused to sign the oath of allegiance, where, according to the Constitution of the Republic of Tanzania, one is not allowed to reject or disagree with the results that have been declared by the Electoral Commission of their country. If the leader is declared, there is no option for rejecting or maybe disagreeing with the results, which the Chadema party was saying is something that should be changed. They needed reforms. And now, because that was not Samia Suluhu's initiative, it had been there. Some people said that it was there to keep the Chama cha Mapinduzi in power, to keep that monopoly in leadership. In Uganda here, do we see that as maybe one of the foundations for the youth to now take over power in those top positions. Do we see a need for electoral reforms in any way such that these youth can be empowered, or we are good to go with what we have already?
The political system in a majority of our countries, especially in East Africa, need reforms, electoral reforms. That's true, and that's how the Chadema ended up saying that no reforms, no election. And I take this opportunity to thank the leader of the Democratic Front, the Right Honorable Matthias Mpuga, because of recent, in the past 1 year, he has been the great voice towards electoral reforms. And maybe, because of political indifferences that we have, even internal things in our political parties, some of the opposition political leaders did not buy, did not support him. But in reality, we need electoral reforms. That's, we can't negotiate about that. When you look at the Electoral Commission, you end up being put to test over competence. That's how we have petitions at the Electoral Commission. Every time a petition comes in, restructuring, reorganizing the Electoral Commission can be part of the reforms that we should all yearn for. Because reforms help us in preparation of the election, which most of the electoral commissions actually across the entire world say free and fair, and call themselves independent electoral commission. Yet their competence lacks. You find it is not what it should be. So I agree that reforms are needed, and we should push this agenda as the youth.
Where could that reform be needed? Is it maybe the money that is asked from the candidates, those aspiring candidates? Where is the ground unfavorable for the youth, especially, that needs to be reformed in the Electoral Commission? Some of the things you look at and say, like, this does not favor the youth, this does not favor the youth, maybe it should be changed. Where could be some of those, at least notable areas for the government or a person watching us to know that needs a reform?
For the first time, I think if I can recall the past 4 or 3 elections that we have had here in Uganda, I saw this election having no independent presidential candidate. All the 8 candidates that we have are flag bearers of various political parties. And we had the youth who were willing to contest in that election, to show their capacity, to show their potential, and to call upon the youth to prepare for the good of their country. And they were locked outside. We need to be, considered, because the Constitution gives us mandate to contest for any political position, as long as you are above 18 years and as long as you can meet the qualifications that are required by the law. When you speak about the money, one, I've already said that our politics in Uganda have been over-monetized. We have failed to regulate over-monetization of politics in Uganda. That's the role of the Electoral Commission as a chief regulator of this habit that keeps on increasing day in, day out. That will help us as the youth. When you regulate the over-monetization of politics, like I said now, contesting for a youth MP, you need to be, your net worth should be, or what you should be preparing to invest or to use, not investing, because seeking for a political position is not an investment. But what you are to use in this current political era that we have in Uganda is close to 1 billion and plus. But when we get that regulated, then majority of the youth will show up, and some fear, they have potential, they have the knowledge, but they are fearing the monetization of politics. When you look at nomination fee, nomination fee, because as a member of parliament candidate for the special interest group, the youth, I paid 3 million. And my colleagues also paid 3 million. Now why? If you say that this is a position for the youth, why can't you give them a favor? And you reduce maybe on their nomination fee.
Because of their financial capacity.
Yes.
Since that youth are known not to have much in terms of finances.
So that's how, when these reforms come on board, that's how we shall benefit, or we shall be considered as the youth.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is Mr. Abeneitwe Manful. We are still talking about youth and power. How best can the youth now be involved in decisions made in their own country? How can they shape the future for their country or countries, depending on where you're watching us from? Here we are coming to you live from Uganda's capital, Kampala, but you could be watching this show when you are a Tanzanian, a Kenyan, because we are borderless. As an online platform, this conversation can reach as far as maybe the globe is concerned. The entire continent, even the entire world can get to see this message. And we are talking about the youth and how they can be involved in decisions made in their countries. How can they be part of the policies that in their governments or in their countries? How can they influence policies? What should they do? Where are they going wrong? What are some of the mistakes that are being made by our brothers and sisters, the youth, and where do they need to correct? And that is Mr. Abeneitwe Manful for you and I to be part of the conversation. Drop in your comments. We will be taking a look at some of them if time does allow us. And we are streaming live from all our social media handles at the Alternative Digital TV. If you enjoy these conversations, you can see our other uploaded content on interviews with other people, and even this very discussion will stay online, so you can watch this at any time you wish to watch it. You can save it for later, and you can even share it to a friend. This conversation is for all of us to benefit, regardless of the political affiliations. It is for all of us to learn and share knowledge. How can our brothers and sisters, the youth, be part of the very system? Because we are human beings, we live and die. If the people in power are no more, do we see any youth coming up, taking over those positions without us sliding backwards in terms of development? Do we have the youth of that caliber who can pick from where the system or the development is and push it forward? Or because we need our youth, our brothers and sisters, to be prepared enough such that if any time, because transition happens at any time and at any level. So whether it is the chairperson of C5 and we are seeing someone coming in there, taking that position, do we see our youth taking over that position successfully, or they take it for some short time and now the challenges are more worse than those that were there previously, and we are sliding backwards in terms of development? To prevent that, we bring conversations like this for you and I to learn, share knowledge, and know what is necessary. Where do we need to work upon as the youth, such that if that opportunity comes and we are the people in power at all levels, how can we contribute towards that? Even before being in power, what can we do using the already available rights we have as individuals to make sure we bring about positive change in our societies, regardless of whether you're in public sector or you are a private worker, you're a self-employed person, you're working in a certain company or any other thing, you are a youth, you will become the next CEO, you become the next manager. How can you now be a leader in that position? Of course, with the focus on politics, but this can go even to lower and lower levels. So the conversation, I believe, is very fruitful for you and I. And please tap that like button and share to a friend. We are still sailing smoothly as we come towards the end of this Mighty Drive show. But we are still in this conversation and you can be part of it. You can even call in direct in studios. You even leave your comments. If time allows, we will go through them. Even some other time, we shall be forwarding these questions to these individuals, and if possible, we invite them here once again in studios. Now I am asking you, Mr. Abeneitwe, the youth have been involved in violence for so much, and this could be our last question. The youth, the government and the security organs say the youth are being used to for violence, to bring violence, loot people's property by these politicians. How best can the youth avoid violence in whatever they do to make sure they are not termed as violent people, but rather be seen as people who want positive change in their societies? In a few seconds before we wind up.
Well, thank you so much. You know, when you speak about violence or youth being the champions of violence in the country, to a smaller extent, we have seen such happen, where in a demonstration, you know, people's property is tampered with, you know, looting. But those are a few elements that come in and organize the demonstration. Because as the youth, we understand how to peacefully demonstrate when we need things to be done or changed. But along the way, and when you start up a physical demonstration, you know, you don't stop people from joining you. So a few elements come in there and then maybe do all such kind of violence in an organized group. But you know, we can't say the youth are the champions of violence in this country. And maybe even most of the times, you find that the security organs are the ones that get violent onto the youth and make the situation worse. And at the end, they say they are the youth who are so violent. Because we have seen our security organs being violent themselves. When you look at the Kawempe North by-election, which I was so much involved in, supporting our flag bearer for FDC, Muchibi Sadati, Aganaga, you know, what happened in there in that process of the election and campaigns, you know, the security organs being violent themselves, you know. So it's not, we shouldn't put it on to youth that they are the champions of violence in this country.
Your last message to our viewer.
Thank you so much. Our campaigns have already started. I'm good to go and seek support from the delegates of Western Region. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. To the youth of Western Region, especially the delegates, I offer myself to you as a beacon of hope, in not only actually in Western Region, but in the entire country. Because being a member of parliament, I will not only serve the youth of Western Region, neither will I only put on board under legislation, as you know, the work of an MP, what helps only the youth of Western Region. Oh, it will be all the youth in the entire country. So I kindly request for your support. Come 6th of February next year, and I am your own. I'm your own. what you face is what I face. I know what we go through. People on the over monetization. You eat the money. When money comes, you eat the money, but understand that we need our voice to be heard. Because my slogan is action time, youth agenda. And maybe lastly, I want to thank the management of Digtalk TV, led by Executive Director Norman Tumuhimbise. Is one of the young leaders that we looked up to as we were growing, joining the national politics, because he has always been a champion of changing the status quo where things are not right. He speaks up to now, and I'm so glad that you have such a leader at Digtalk TV.
All right. Thank you so much. Of course, we can't add anything from there. I believe you have enjoyed this discussion. The Mighty Drive is ending here. I'm Keneth Rubatsimbira Rwemirembe. See you next time.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.